Wisdom versus knowledge. Anyone can talk the talk these days. You can gather information from AI, from just about anywhere. What is the difference between wisdom and knowledge, and why is it so incredibly important that we seek out people who are actually wise rather than just have attained a bunch of knowledge? If you are trying to move forward in life, any area in life, you want to attract more abundance, you want to step into the ultimate version of yourself in whatever area, it's incredibly important to seek out those who are embodied in it, not those who just talk the talk or even just information that you can get online. The reason for this is that wisdom is different than knowledge. Wisdom is actually energy, right? There's an energetic transfer that can happen when you have acquired a certain amount of not only knowledge, but you've applied it in life. And you've applied it so many times that it has created success in whatever area or department that you are sharing about, that it becomes over time that anchored wisdom. Now, when you go to, for example, a spiritual or a entrepreneur, it doesn't even have to be spiritual, anyone who you're wanting to learn from, if that person just has acquired a bunch of knowledge and they're speaking from like verbatim and what they've read. This is what I like to call flat energy. There's no energetic transfer. It's just information. Information is, well, it's just information. It doesn't have the same whoo. It doesn't hit you the same. It doesn't, what I like to call these moments when you have a wisdom transfer, it's called the aha moment. Now, the aha moment is something that can happen not necessarily when the wisdom is received in your field, but when it actually lands. So, for example, I've helped many of my students overcome and move through their many different types of obstacles. And they always share the same thing. I've known about this exact thing for a very long time, but it was something about the way that you taught it and the way that you shared it and your information that something clicked in me. And I had this aha moment. And it didn't happen at the exact moment you told me it. It happened later on, something when I was going about my day, whether it be a day from the time that I shared it, or even a week later, or even a month later, or even years later. Okay, we plant seeds and then when you are ready, that information will lock in and you will open up and you'll be like, oh my gosh, I get it. The aha moment comes because you can have information in your field and you actually might not get it. Right? So let's explain that. Let's dissect that a little bit because what does that even mean? Well, it means that you can have all of this knowledge, but still something's not feeling right. There's still resistance. There's still like a gap that's making you feel like I get it, but it's not anchored in. It's not grounded in my field. Something is blocking it. And that is the difference between wisdom and knowledge. And wisdom is something that only another human can transfer to another human. It is not something that AI can transfer to a human. It is not something that if you read a bunch of books, you can transfer it to human. Right? Like, I see this happening a lot where people go to school, they get all these degrees or they get this certification, but yet they don't have any experience in the department, right? Personally, if I had, rewound my life and I had an opportunity to go to someone who knew from knowledge base how to heal from trauma, or somebody who'd actually gone through the depths of trauma, overcame it, and then started speaking from that place of how to move through any type of block, how to move through any type of trauma. That is the person who I would like to go to, right? Because there's going to be a really fast speed when you are working with that person. And technically, I did have somebody in my life who was embodied in moving through many obstacles, and that is what helped me get to where I am faster. Because in reality, it should have taken me an incredibly longer for me to get to where I am, but I know it's because I found the right mentor. Now, this mentor, was somebody who was embodied in what they preach, right? So, how do you find the person who is embodied in what they preach? It's through energy. The things click for you when they speak about it. How do they feel when you're listening to them? Now, I also want to share here, there are two different forms of triggers. I mean, there's many forms of triggers, but in this, what we're talking about right now, there's two different forms of way a person who is sharing information can trigger you. One is from somebody who is not embodied in what they preach, and they are just sharing off. I like to call this, I reference this a lot, the inner turkey, or like, it's like, they're just sharing all of the things, anything, and it just like it just feels like a bunch of like information. Like you're like, what is going on here? Some people get allured by that. Some people are like, oh my gosh, this person knows a lot, so therefore I should go to this person because, or they have a more of a forceful energy, like they're trying to like control or trying to force or demand that you think this way. That is also kind of that energy. Right. So that if you have a sense of like knowing in your energy, if your intuition is wired on, then you will immediately feel kind of repelled from that energy. But if you don't yet, that energy might be alluring to you because it could be a test for you to see to learn to practice using your intuition first, right? Not necessarily a negative thing. It is teaching you the importance of using your intuition because you might have had a subtle thing that will come through that says, oh, this person's like energy, like it just feels, I don't know. And then you were like, oh, but look at what they're selling, look what it can do, look at all of these things they have, like, right? Our mind will literally talk us out of that initial feeling, that initial pull. And so the pull not to do it, right? And so that's how that mind works. The mind is this, a tool that's kind of built to scarcity, kind of built to lack. And so we have to start to retrain ourselves to first focus on feel, which is how God or, source speaks through us, right? Divinity, right? Divinity speaks through one or two words, mainly through feeling. So you want to start to anchor in how do you feel? What was that initial pull? The other option is somebody who actually has wisdom in their field. Now, how do you know somebody has wisdom in their field? Well, they're calmer. They often say less words or more impactful words. They know how to say what they need to say when they need to say it. It just flows. You feel their energy, right? It's not this flat energy that's just speaking. It's calm, it's authoritative, it's in power, it's presence, right? That is felt because society has had a lot of people, a lot of fake gurus. There's been incredible amounts of fake gurus out there trying to allure people, trying to get their money, trying to do this, trying to do that, trying to take people's power, you name it. And that has created this almost like fear amongst a lot of people. It's not that if you fear is wrong, it's that you don't know how to trust again, right? So we have to learn to start to trust the subtle ways that our body is speaking to us, right? That initial pull without the mind going into turkey or into stories and all of that. But what does this person actually feel like? That right there, you can bypass the what they're trying to give off and what they're trying to do because energy does not lie. Energy can also be transferred, and energy is a powerful, even by being in the presence with somebody who is embodied, you can actually move through blocks really fast just by being in present with them. Okay. This is the power of being around people who have made it to the goal that you're trying to achieve, right? You start to surround yourself with high achievers. Eventually, you will start to become more of a higher achiever yourself. If you keep surrounding yourself with people who complain and don't know how to process their inner shit, like literally, you are taking on their codes and they're taking on your codes and you're not going to get anywhere. You got to start to eliminate the people who no longer serve you and start to be around people who are like-minded, who will have similar goals or they've already reached those higher goals that you are achieving. So I hope that this helps you to decide whatever you are going through right now, whatever life's obstacles or goals that you are trying to achieve, that this kind of gives you a little bit more of, okay, I know how to tune in to see if somebody is actually worth working with, or if they're just kind of, all talk and no wisdom. Wisdom can only be something that you can go through from moving through life's biggest obstacles, overcoming it, and then doing that so many times that it becomes solidified in your field. And then from that place, you can teach. That place you can share, and that comes with authority, right? That is that energy that's authoritative. I don't even know if that's a word, authoritative, but I'm gonna say that it is. But it's in the energy. I do have a free once a month event that I host on my website all around the abundance blueprint, mastering those internal triggers or those internal blocks so you can step into the highest version of yourself a lot quicker. All right. Hope to see you soon.